One or two of you, when we talked about how we're going to help small businesses, talked about you also need to balance the budget. But this year we have a current budget deficit is probably going to hit $1 trillion. Our national debt, approximately $13.5 trillion. How would you help control the budget? How would you cut expenditures and control revenue, or increase revenues and cut expenditures? Congressman Hoyer?
I think one of the most critical problems confronting our country is our national deficit. And I think citizens really have a really good marker here to follow and to review. I've been in Congress, some say for too long. My friend to my right says that. Some of you may believe it. But I've been in Congress long enough to learn what works and what doesn't. And I've been in Congress for 20 years with Republican presidents. Every year, they have run a deficit very substantially, totaling $4.68 trillion. The last administration increased the national debt by $5+ trillion. When they inherited from the previous administration, the Clinton administration, a $5.6 trillion surplus. Bill Clinton is the only president in the lifetime of anybody in this room who had a net balanced budget after 96 months in office, $62.9 billion. Talk is cheap. Performance is what you're looking for. Now, what have we done? The Republicans jettisoned the premise of paying as you go, statutory payment. We put that back in place. The president established, after Republicans supported but then opposed, a deficit reduction commission, which is looking right now and will report on December 1st about how we get a handle on this deep debt. Secondly, we passed a budget enforcement resolution which cut below the president's budget. The only thing we didn't cut in terms of freezing spending was national security, veterans' health, and other national security interests which we think you and I would want to support and which are critical to our district. We're going to continue to do that. Thank you very much.
Congressman Hoyer. Mr. Lawler.
You know, one thing I love about these questions, again, is because they're not partisan, but this happens to be somewhat partisan. And my concern, really, as should be every single person in here, is Mr. Hoyer made a very good point. He's been in Congress for over 20 years, and he knows how it works. So he knows that Congress holds the purse strings, not the president. He knows. He knows that when President Clinton had the biggest surplus in our nation's history, it was because of a Republican Congress that created the surplus. I'm very confused and concerned, and I would really hope that everyone that applauded, please, do the research. Congress holds the purse strings. They're responsible for appropriations. In fact, my congressman, Mr. Hoyer, refused to even pass a budget for this year for the first time in several years, which is completely irresponsible. So if we're going to talk about partisan politics that way, I didn't want to, but since it's here, let's understand that balancing the budget is about building consumer confidence. It's about making sure that we're there in Congress making the right decisions so we can pass a balanced budget. And my friends, we can do that because from a fiscal responsibility perspective, we have the same basic expenses we had over the past 5 or 6 fiscal quarters. Our problem has been that because consumer confidence is down, people aren't spending money anymore. Businesses, small businesses are holding on to $1.74 trillion that they're not spending or hiring right now because they're so concerned about the direction of our country and the leadership that we currently have. I'm running out of time. I'd love to explain it, but it really is about a wise Congress that passes proper bills to make sure we balance a budget, something we have not had in at least 6 years.
Thank you, Mr. Lawler. Mr. Magoo.
Ladies and gentlemen, we'd love to hear more from these folks, but time is limited, so I present to you your candidates for U.S. Congress. Next up, we do have one candidate for the U.S. Senate. He is from the Constitution Party, Mr. Richard Shaver. Mr. Shaver?